Hello everyone. Welcome to a thought sharing session on human resource management. Having covered the 7G framework extensively, and we are moving ahead with a very topical theme which I would call emerging trends in human resource management. And we are trying to connect human resource management to the developments in the world. So let me talk about triple trends and we see in the globe. So human resource management should be lean, be green and be seen. Lean, green and seen. Lean is associated with cost effectiveness. You need to look after your cost factor. As the Japanese companies spearheaded, we talk about the lean management, the Toyota way, the lean manufacturing, lean production, lean way of doing business. So in simple terms, cutting down the wastage. In Japan, they talk about 7 mudas. Muda is the term for waste. So you cut down waste and you ensure that you become cost effective. So that is one key challenge for human resource management. They can't have the luxury of having so many people working in a huge human resource department. They need to be effective with regard to the productive people that they hire and deploy. So lean is a key human resource challenge in the time to come. So it's an emerging trend, be lean. So there's a huge challenge for HR to be cost conscious. Second one is obvious, be green. And now we talk about sustainable human resource management. And we talk about green HRM, how to be eco-friendly, how to ensure that people are planet considered in addition to profit. So be green and say paperless systems, having less paper and more human resource information system or human resource management system, HRIS, HRMS, sort of that direction is what we see as a trend. So be green is a clear trend. The green approach, the green wave around the planet has engulfed human resource management as well. And the third one is the most challenging, be seen. How to ensure HR's visibility in the boardroom, in the workplace and in the business circles. Sometimes HR, unfortunately, is at the top and not at the top. So how can we ensure the board presence of human resource professionals? So the key challenge is quantifying something which is difficult to quantify in the real life. So how to ensure that HR intangible sort of result, the soft related aspects are converted into a measurable, quantifiable manner. So let me remind you, be lean, be green, be seen. The biggest challenge I would like to zoom and to focus today is to be seen. So that's where you got to have the right measuring for HR excellence. You got to have right measurements in line with the Japanese adage. What gets measured gets managed. What gets measured gets improved. What gets measured gets further fine-tuned and excelled. That's why we say measuring HR for excellence. And for that we need HR scorecard. So if you remember the discussion we had in term 1 with regard to balanced scorecard, there's some connection, some parallel, some way of resembling with regard to HR scorecard. And just a minor point, remember scorecard is just one word, not scorecard separately. We write it as one word. So it's HRS as an acronym, Human Resource Scorecard. So what is it all about? The HR scorecard, I would argue, is a measurement system. It measures what is typically difficult to measure. And it's a strategic management system. It highlights the formulated strategies under the guise of strategic human resource management. And then it tracks, it monitors, it reviews the strategy execution of human resource management. And then, as usual, it's a very powerful communication tool. It communicates visually, impactfully with different color codes how the strategy implementation is properly taking place. So it's a measurement system, it's a strategic management system, and it's a very, very versatile communication tool. So let's go forward. So it reminds me of the discussion we had on the balanced scorecard. If you recall, if you refresh your memories, we can see the original version of balanced scorecard by Norton and Kaplan way back in 1992. And you see the original version beginning with the center, vision and strategy. Vision, as we are aware, is all about what or where, and the strategy is all about how, the game plan. And that is the center, that is the core. And based on that, we ask 4 fundamental questions: financial, customer, processes, and people. And of course, this was subsequently changed to people. It was earlier learning and growth, it became people. So how should we appear to our shareholders financially? How should we satisfy our customers? And how should we improve what we are excelling at in our workplace, that is processes? And how should we have the right people in handling those processes? And my mentor, late Professor Udit Ali, again introduced 5 simple words. I think we discussed that. The center is all about want, what you want to do, or where you want to go and how you do that. It's all about want. And financial is all about getting the right numbers, getting the right results. And custom is all about giving the right type of product or right type of service. And in order to get, you got to give. In order to give, you got to do something, or right processes in right manner. And in order to do, you got to have the right people. That's where the people come into the scene. So the balance scorecard, BS, and the HR scorecard, HS, are interconnected. So I would say it is the elaboration of the have aspect or the people aspect. We zoom and then HR scorecard is formed. So if you look at the people perspective, the measurement framework, which is advocated by Norton and Kaplan, it has 2 sides. First, we have core measurements and then enablers. Core measurements can begin with employee satisfaction, and it leads to 2 parts: employee retention on one side, employee productivity on the other side. And they both lead to results. So that is core measurement framework. And then the enablers, the supporting drivers, if you look at it, they have employee competencies, technology infrastructure, and climate for action. So they support the achievement of the core measurement. So this is the measurement framework pertaining to people perspective, or learning and growth perspective, or innovation perspective, creativity perspective. Different terms are interchangeably used. For us, it's essentially the people perspective. So if we are to connect this to an HR scorecard, this is a sample. And in the textbook that is given to you, it's described further. So starting with strategic focus. You need to have your clear strategy. Whether you are operationally excellent, or whether you are driven by a unique product or a service, or you are more driven by customer delight, and the strong word they use, customer intimacy, based on the Tracy and Viersama's The Discipline of Market Leaders research. So based on whether you are having operational excellence, product leadership, or customer intimacy, the other 4 would accordingly change. So starting point is HR deliverables. So you have HR deliverables. So you need to have the people having the right mindset. They need to have the right technical knowledge, and they need to behave with right values in action. So that is what HR would deliver in terms of contributing to the workplace. In order to deliver, there's a nice arrow comes to what we call HR competencies. So they have put admin expertise, employee advocacy, strategy execution, and change agency. They are the bridge between employees and employers. So they need to have that employee relationship, and they should be the experts in administration, and not necessarily to handle it, but to ensure that admin is happening in the proper way. And then strategy execution. People make the difference. People drive business. People are the key executors of strategy. And then of course driving change, doing change for the better, HR should work hand in hand with the top management. So those are the essential HR competencies that you need to have. And they are then translated into what we call HR practices. Communication, how you communicate daily, work design, how a job is properly designed, selection of right people, development of them, and measurement of their performance, and how they are rewarded for their performance appropriately. They are all coming under HR practices. And in order to ensure the HR practices are consistently happening, you need to have HR systems. And there we talk about alignment of various HR practices and integration of them into one common coherent approach and differentiation. Ensure that each practice has its own way of adding value. For example, training is adding value in one way, recruitment is adding value in another way, compensation is adding value in another way. How to ensure the differences of them at the same time integrate and align. And you see now very clearly the big picture of the HR scorecard. In the middle you have strategic focus and then HR deliverables. In order to deliver, you need to have competencies. They are translated into practices, and practices are solidified as systems in a consistent manner. And now you see the comprehensive way of describing scorecard based on BAT, Husserl and others paper. I think we have referred to that paper. I have uploaded that paper also into the production learning portal. Measurement through HR scorecard by BAT, Husserl and others. It's a seminal paper, sought after paper, and a well conceptualized paper. You can refer to that to get more details on this. And then you might ask, how can HRS and BS can be connected? This is the complex picture. You see the linkage. HR scorecard on your left hand side and the business scorecard is on your right hand side. And then of course you might ask why they don't use the word balance scorecard, probably due to copyright issues. So BAT, Husserl and others, they prefer the term business scorecard. But if you really look at the elements, they are more or less similar to the balance scorecard. So you have HR scorecard on the left hand side and the business scorecard on the right hand side. So what is the connection? And as I mentioned, it's all about workforce success. So in simple terms, what is there as an output of the HR scorecard is the key input to the business scorecard. Or in simple terms, what is the last stage of the HR scorecard in terms of a logical sequence is the starting stage of the balance scorecard in terms of another sequence. So you have one sequence happening in HR scorecard where it ends, another sequence begins, that's where the business scorecard comes into the scene. So HR scorecard and business scorecard work hand in hand. So that's how it is happening. So you can see the workforce success is the beginning of the business scorecard where it leads to business process, from people to processes, and then processes to customers, customers to financial, and the key word is rewards. So rewards come as a return to the workforce. So try to dissect this seemingly complex picture, but it looks very simple if you understand the logic, the two different cycles which are interconnected, which are merged in a meaningful manner. So reflect more and try to relate it to your organization and try to renew your understanding how HR should really contribute to the business success. So I would leave it for you to study. So let me go further in talking about what we learned in term 1, again to refresh and to relate it to HR. We had two terms, lagging indicators and leading indicators. First one is the lagging indicator. They are outcome measures and they look at the end result or something that has lagged and produced this result. So the word lagged involves the term delay or a gap. So it's an outcome measure, indicates the end result of a system, tells you what happened, not what is happening. And as such, it's less effective because you measure while it is still on. It's an ongoing measure. In contrast, before going into leading, some non-HR examples: health, heart attack, liver failure, stroke, death. It's over. It's the end result. Automobile arrived safely, or you got stuck halfway through engine failure, there was a tire blew up, and so on and so forth. And economy, GNP growth, gross national product growth, and so on and so forth. So it's basically looking back. And now let's look at some HR examples: employee retention, employee performance, organizational performance, customer retention, employee productivity, and you can name more. They are all measuring what has happened post-mortem, looking back. That's why the word lagging. In contrast, then you have lagging indicators having a direct bearing on the company's bottom line. That is the important part. They really contribute to the bottom line. There's a business interest in and a direct financial benefit from improvement in these areas. So this is one side of the story. In contrast, you can have leading indicators. Leading indicators are process measures that help you to gauge incremental progress you are making towards key HR outcome, lagging. So in other words, you measure while things are still on. They measure the results from processes, and there's a less of a delay between actions and change of a system. You are measuring while things are on. So they are key performance drivers. So they drive the results. So you can still do course correction, you can still do adjustments, and they are process measures. Immediate feedback to the system. Tells you what is happening now, is ongoing, fresh, real, and provide an early warning, because you still can adjust, you still can rectify, you still can put the things back on track. Very responsive to the changes, because it's so hot, things are really happening. So what are the examples from non-HR? Health. Now we talk about heart attack as a lagging indicator. So if heart attack as a lagging indicator, what could be a leading indicator? Irregular heartbeat, some pain in the heart, you get a severe pain, chest pain, and so on and so forth. So they lead to the worst case scenario. If you take automobile, sometimes engine temperature unusually going up can result in engine failure, and so on and so forth. Economy, sometimes the rising cost of food, rising cost of particular type of employment, and so on and so forth, which is a sign of not so well-doing economy. So those are non-HR examples. So what could be HR examples? A reduction in absenteeism in key position. So when you see that the absenteeism has come down on a daily basis, then it is a sign that higher employee satisfaction. So on a daily basis, when you measure absenteeism, if you see it is going down as a leading measure, then the corresponding lagging measure is that higher employee satisfaction. Similarly, percentage increase in measuring internal people for a position, a number of positive comments from customers, customer feedback on HR. Leading indicators have an indirect bearing on company's bottom line. Unlike lagging, which has a direct impact, here it's an indirect bearing. Because while there's a business interest in improvement in this area, there might not be immediate financial benefit, because it's happening. It's happening. So why have I revisited these two concepts, leading and lagging? Because you need to connect them to a good HRS. The HR scorecard focuses more on leading indicators. That's the beauty of it. Whereas the balanced scorecard has both leading and lagging. If you look at financial, essentially lagging. It's like looking back to get the rear view once you're driving. It's what has happened. But HR is driving what is to happen. So it's basically focusing on deliverables, not doables. So you've got to separate. Now the biggest mistake a lot of HR professionals do, that they are being busy for the sake of being busy. They say we are doing. We come to work early morning, we work till late night. They get bogged down in doing. But remember, doing is not delivering. Doing is you are engaged in activities. Delivering means you deliver value. You deliver the expected value. You create value collectively. That's what deliverables are all about. And it demonstrates HR contribution. So the seen factor, visibility factor is very, very clear. HR is visible through numbers. HR is visible through its contribution properly calculated, and helps HR managers focus on and manage their strategic responsibilities. Because it's a strategic thing to quantify and to ensure the contribution and encourage HR flexibility and change, obviously. And you can look at the 4 aspects, HR competencies. So these are some of the areas: operational efficiency, high performance work system, and so on and so forth. You can go through them and find examples from your workplace. And HR practices. These are some of the examples given, and you can see whether they are relevant to your workplace. Third one is HR systems, and you can see how it is happening. And some of the examples you can relate to your workplace. And then you get the HR dashboard. It's a visual depiction of how things are taking place. And you can put some creativity in having like a vehicle dashboard, some critical parameters like composite quality of work-life score, composite score on values, job satisfaction, how it varies, and the usual color code. Green means all right, red means not all right, amber means some are marginal, you have hit the target but not fully there, so there's a gap. So this is the way you are moving ahead. So I will not expect you to be an expert on HR scorecard, but you need to appreciate the need to have HR scorecard, and you should be able to contribute in making or in developing an HR scorecard together with your HR professional colleagues, and you should be able to apply and use. That is my main intention, to use a proper HR scorecard to ensure the right scene of HR in action. The scene factor is covered. And again, in selecting numbers, you have to be very careful. In the field of big data, we have so much of data and data and data. So we analyze, and we might end up having analysis paralysis. So this is what Albert Einstein said. Not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. So what does that mean? Not everything that can be counted. You can count a lot of things, but do they really count is a question mark. And not everything that counts. Take a mother's love. Can it be counted? Can it be quantifiable? A mother's love towards a child? No. So not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. So fortunately or unfortunately, human resource management deals mostly with the things that counts but cannot be, I would qualify with the term, easily counted. But directly difficult, but indirectly you can find a mechanism to count what really counts. That's what we do in human resource management. So read, reflect, and relate to what you do, and enjoy what we call measurements in human resource management. Then you will have meaningful applications of how to have a right set of measurements in order to ensure you are lean, you are green, and most importantly, you are seen in a quantifiable manner. So read the relevant compendium article at end of your textbook and relate it to your workplace, and try to read more based on the BAT and Husserl article and few other articles in the related area, and apply them meaningfully into your work setting. All the very best.